Hello, I'm Summer Bock. I used this mission to create an impetus to get my brand new website live. I've been working on that for a few months now, and there are some things you might not know about me as a systematizer, business owner, and consultant. I'll get to that later. First, I want to dive right into the meat of how I can serve you today. I'm learning every day. I find mentors who can help me grow in the areas I'm trying to grow in. So if you find one who is great at humility, please send them my way. Because this feels like a giant bragging fest, and I'm going to do my best to share what I know in a way that doesn't gross me out. Mentors are important. I've had many mentors in this life, and I'd like to take a moment to appreciate them all. I consider myself a perpetual student. Seneca said, "While we teach, we learn." And to take learning to the next level, you teach. I'm going to do my best in this video to teach you how to create a tech stack, which is the back-end technology that runs your online business dealings. After 17 years in the online space, I've gotten to watch the evolution. Today, there are so many platforms and subscriptions and one-stop shops and bells and whistles and shiny things that you could end up embedded in a system that doesn't suit your needs and could potentially break your budget. There are hidden costs to success, and most business owners don't talk about it. I want to make sure you understand at least some of these costs today. And this is the place where I might lose some of you. If you're starting to get foggy or tired, it is even more imperative that you learn this info. The density comes from the parts inside of us that are trying to protect us from changing who we are right now. Because we survived to get to this point, so we must have done something right, despite all the trials and tribulations. Our ego doesn't always embrace change. So stick with me. You can always bookmark this video and watch it again when it applies to you. You can also pop in your earbuds and take a walk while you're listening. I have slides and some video footage, but it's okay to take in the info how you need. Take care of yourself, and you do you. I've worked primarily in the health space. Most healers do not want to look at money. Artists are very similar. There is a deep-seated desire to find someone who will take over all the parts of your life that feel icky so you can focus on what you love to do and what you are best at. I'm not saying you need to learn how to fix a broken old Toyota like Dana, or create the heat protection panels that protect satellites from burning up when they re-enter the atmosphere like Leighton. But I am saying that you need to learn how to run a business and take care of your finances if you want this to be sustainable. My friend Terry trusted her money to an advisor who stole everything from her and her husband right before she was about to retire. She had to reinvent herself and go back to work in her 60s, and now specializes in teaching boundaries. My friend, a well-known health practitioner, didn't know how her business ran. She focused on her strengths as an author, spokesperson for her brand, and visionary. She hired CEO after CEO to run her company, and little did she know none of them were qualified, and they made poor decisions that cost her so much money, it made her sick once she started paying attention. Whether you're a seasoned business owner or thinking of starting out, the same rules apply. Learn how to run your business and take care of your finances. What does this mean? Your finances are energy that fuels your idea engine. It's what brings your ideas to life. What does this mean? Your finances are the energy that fuels your idea engine. It's what brings your ideas to life. I go more into that in my Mystical Money Manifesto free ebook and my 6-week immersion course. Learning the way energy flows in and out of your business is one of the metrics to know what is growing and what isn't, what is being fed energy and what isn't. When you run your business based on decisions informed by metrics and facts and combine this with your passion and intuition, you are melding both hemispheres of the brain. Not using both hemispheres together is akin to being a teenager. Teenagers literally haven't developed the corpus callosum, which is the largest nerve fiber bundle that connects the cortical regions of the cerebral hemispheres in the human brain. and it plays an essential role in the integration of information transferred between the hemispheres over thousands of axons. This means teenagers are only using the right hemisphere, coming up with a great idea, and then not running it through the pragmatic side of the brain to ascertain the steps to achieve it, the practicality, the risks, and the rewards, which is why we can all relate to some of the incredibly stupid things that we did as teenagers, because the idea never made it to the other side of the brain. Einstein's corpus callosum, interestingly, is thicker than new and old brains studied in comparison. Based on what we know about human brains, Einstein's intellectual gifts were enhanced by coordinated communication between the cerebral hemispheres. Artists are known for enhancing creativity stemming from the right hemisphere of the brain. The left hemisphere of the brain is associated with logical and analytical thinking. Modern neuroscience shows that the hemispheres are working together for creativity and complex problem solving. Practicing this neurological pathway could enhance your overall creativity. This is what I'm tasking you with today. Consider learning the important aspects of your business and finances so you can thrive in your art. Consider that by doing this, you could also be enhancing the processing of your corpus callosum, thereby impacting your overall creativity. I want to make sure you understand that all businesses are marketing to you so they paint a very pretty picture of what they want you to buy. They are there to make money. Many companies are earnest in their attempts to solve customers' problems, but the downfalls of picking the wrong software for your company can be expensive. Worse, it can create a tech nightmare trying to link everything together. I recommend using platforms that you can update and edit yourself without the help of an expensive tech person. Don't try to build a complex tech stack that you can try to do all sorts of specialized functions because you're attached to wanting things to go exactly your way. Then there's digital hoarding. This is where a company will buy a new subscription to this or that and never consolidate and upgrade their systems as their company grows. One thing I want to tell you that you may not realize is that passion and a good idea can actually sell. I've personally watched thousands of businesses make a decent amount of money with just that, passion and a good idea. I've worked intimately with hundreds of those businesses where I've consulted and gotten to see behind the curtain of how things were actually going. And I'm going to tell you the formula for the ones that are the most financially successful and creatively enjoying their work. After that, I'm going to talk about the tech stacks, show you my tech stack, and explain why I've set mine up this way. I'll make some recommendations for what you could use based on your situation. But here are the commonalities I've noticed with successful entrepreneurs. 1, success is defined by their ability to make money without sacrificing their personal time. They prioritize their family, friends, and time off from work. 2, they know how much money they are bringing in each month down to the dollar. They know how much money they are spending each month down to the dollar. 3, they double down on ideas that people give them money for. 4, they squash the ideas that don't make money. And if they really love their idea because they're very attached to it, they might rework it, but they use money as an energetic representation of reception. So if people are excited and want to support that idea energetically, they give the person money to represent that. 5, they get clear on their best form of communication with their audience, and they create consistent content in that form that is generous and full of value. 6, they know their value and what skills or experiences provide that value. They don't worry about giving too much information away. Often what they're actually selling is something that can only be experienced within a container. Think of the DAC or mentally fit. Erick is sharing information freely with his audience all the time, but if you want to participate in the experience, spend time getting your questions answered, your dreams interpreted, getting his templates for his cathedral, or the container of the sprint, you pay for that. People often get confused about this piece by not knowing their own value and what they bring. 7, they know who their customer is. So well, in fact, that they are often writing, creating for one specific person that they have in mind. They know that person inside and out and can articulate their internal world and bring words and experiences and situations that most people cannot come to on their own. And then that ends up being something that those people identify with, that you're articulating what's in their minds. 8, they have humility. This might be the most important trait that I've seen with successful entrepreneurs. I'm sure there are more, but these are the patterns I've witnessed the most. Okay, let's talk about platforms, tech, subscriptions, and other interesting things. I do nerd out on this because as a business owner, these are the sites that you're logging into. This is where you are pasting your emails and hitting the send button to your audience. This is where you are building your audience. This is the interface between you and your audience in the shimmer. A tech stack is the various platforms and software that manage your online business behind the scenes. This is where you share who you are and how you serve. There are many more platforms and subscriptions that I could talk to you regarding finances and marketing, but we're just going to start with the basic back-end system for sharing who you are and how you serve people. This is what you need to get started, and this is also what everyone needs if they're already in business and they want to scale. You need a CRM, a place where all your email subscribers live, and you can email them. Most of these services are expensive, especially when your email list grows. This is important to know because you need a way to capture people's contact info in the shimmer to enhance your ability to grab their attention when you want to pull it away from the doom scrolling, boredom, and dopamine fixes that they are chasing. This is the beginning of how you serve. You need a website. This includes hosting and DNS so that people can have a point of access to you in the shimmer. You'll also need a way to sell your art, courses, work, products, services. This is your shopping cart, order forms, and payment plans. And if you have physical products, you'll need shipping and fulfillment, and possibly manufacturing. If you have courses or ebooks, you'll need a place to host these courses so that your customers can engage with your philosophy and reap the benefits of your knowledge. If you want your paying customers to have a place to engage, you'll want to have a community. If you have a place where you want to post your regular content, you'll want to have a blog. Integration. This is how the platforms speak to each other and connect your customer to various aspects of your work. So tech stack. You have a CRM. You could use Substack, Simplero, Kajabi, ConvertKit, Klaviyo, Infusionsoft, HubSpot. Your website could be WordPress, Squarespace, Wix, Shopify, HubSpot. Your shopping cart could be Shopify, Stripe, PayPal, WooCommerce, or Shop. Shipping could be ShipStation, Shopify, Shippo, SendCloud. Your course could be in Kajabi, School, Ruzuku, Teachable, Udemy. Is that how you say it? I don't know. Thinkific. Your community could be in School, Circle, Facebook groups, Discord, Kajabi, Telegram, or your own app. Your blog could be on WordPress, Shopify, Substack, or Medium. And then you can integrate using Zapier. There are platforms out there that claim to do it all. I call those the one-stop shop, from CRM, community, course delivery, shopping cart hosting. They're very intriguing, very enticing, and people love to go for these things, but they do get expensive when you grow. So that's something to know. If your list gets up to 100,000 people, you are spending a lot of money each month. And so this is something to consider. It might be worth considering that you will grow that big. It's potentially inevitable. The two recommendations I have for that are Simplero and Kajabi. Simplero might be my number one choice. I have a few clients who use Simplero, and I do think that it is a good deal, and it's easy for the team. It's easy for you. It doesn't cost a lot of money. It does get expensive as you move up, but because everything is in one place, it might serve so many functions for you that you don't care. Depending on how elaborate you want this all to be, you could spend thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars per month to run your business in the shimmer. I've worked with hundreds of businesses online in the past few years, and many of them are spending at least $10,000 a month to run their online businesses, not including labor. I had a client that was spending so much money on tech and subscriptions that within a few months of being hired, I started reaching out to the director of operations with questions and lists of what we were using and why. Within 6 weeks, she discontinued $120,000 worth of apps and subscriptions that would have cost the company that year. One of my current clients is spending at least $15,000 per month on their tech stack. But they are so organized and they check each month what they are using and what they aren't. We just got a notice from the CTO, the Chief Technology Officer, on Thursday with a list of subscriptions, asking the team to let them know if they're using any of them. Otherwise, they will be discontinued immediately. They're more streamlined than most businesses at that level, and this is an easy, often overlooked death cookie that you need to eat each month. What subscriptions are you using? What can you discontinue? You will actually be able to afford more real cookies when you eat these death cookies. They are utilizing one of the principles of mystical money, which is that money likes attention. When you pay attention to it, it grows. There are many business models, and your business model determines the tech stack you use so that everything runs seamlessly together. I'm stoked because I think I came up with a tech stack that might be the most cost-effective one I could possibly use that aligns with the intentions, products, services, art, and knowledge that I have to share. I'm going to show you what I'm using, and then I'm going to show you how I set it up. I think this is a great way for someone who is just starting out. I also think this tech stack has everything it needs to scale. So this is something to consider if you are further along in your company too. This isn't a one-size-fits-all situation. Determining your tech stack is something that is entirely dependent on what you're selling and how you are marketing. And we can talk more about marketing another time if that's something that you're curious about. But let's talk about some tech stack mistakes. I've watched over the past few years while consulting that people can try to emulate the tech stack of a multi-million-dollar per year business before they're there. And they can't afford it. They go broke spending tens of thousands of dollars per month on building and maintaining it and paying expensive tech teams to create a thing that the business owner doesn't understand. And since the business owner doesn't understand it, they're handcuffed to the tech team. Their creativity slides when financial stress kicks in and they lose sight of what they started out doing in the first place. All because of one cardinal sin, greed, and a desire for fame or recognition and comparison and trying to be someone they aren't. This is why the Dharma Artist Collective so resonates with me. Erick is teaching us to focus on the work that our soul is being called to do in the world. By simply staying true to our Dharma while practicing other techniques of humility, right work, meditation, parts work, and then physical practices to keep the ego from getting too strong, such as breath work, body work, and physical activity, we can integrate the disparate parts that attempt to run the show. If you don't learn to deal with it, you will be dealt with. Okay, here's what I use for my tech stack, and let me tell you also why. I use, for my CRM, Shopify and Substack, so I get emails at both places. My website is Shopify, my shopping cart is Shopify, and my shipping and fulfillment is Shopify. My courses are in School, also my ebooks downloads. And then my community is in Substack and School. My blog is in Substack, and my integration is Zapier. My tech stack only costs $134 per month. There are no major skills required. And that is so cheap compared to most tech stacks. I want something inexpensive enough that I don't have to feel rushed with my creative process, so I can take breaks in between launches and programs. I don't want to build a hamster wheel that I can't get off. I did that. I built this freaking golden hamster wheel. Back when I was running my gut rebuilding and fermentation business, I made this fatal mistake. I was spending a cool $20,000 to $30,000 per month on tech and my tech team. And I got so burnt out because I was making decisions to launch things more frequently and trying to keep up with the expenses. It's problematic. Like, I grew quickly, but I had to launch instead of taking the break that I needed so I could get creative again. And I reached a critical juncture where the needs of my business were fighting my soul's creativity. I couldn't experiment and play anymore. I just had to make money. I had a team to pay. It was soul crushing. Starting over this time, I'm learning from my past mistakes. I created the Substack account because it's free to host emails. I have 116 valid emails from my previous business. That would cost thousands of dollars each month to host, so I'm going to use a free 30-day trial of something like ConvertKit, and I'm going to do a specific email launch campaign to move as many interested parties over to Substack as possible. Plus, Substack emails always land in the inbox. They don't go to spam. Deliverability is a big problem with email lists and CRMs. In Substack, there's a paid subscription option for my audience annually and monthly, and this allows commenting on the posts, which I love because in my last business, I got really tired of the trolls. So now you have to pay to say what you want on my posts. And the paid subscribers also get access to various content, such as my Somatic Soul Work course. I'm using Shopify as my website because it is so easy to use for products. In the past, my tech stack was totally different. It was way more custom and it did exactly what I wanted it to do because I had a dream and a vision and I was a control freak. That's not how the efficient entrepreneur works. Instead, we work within the confines of the native functionality of the platforms. So my business strategy is built around the native functionality of the software. My good friend and human spirit animal, Brian, is a tech genius. He showed me 7 Lions Shopify site and showed me how they had blogs and other pages on there and suggested that I just stick with Shopify as the only website. I wasn't thinking of Shopify that way. I was thinking of it just as a store. So that has been a game changer for me. That means that Shopify is the hub for my product sales and it links out to Substack. And that's where my newsletter is. So when you click on newsletter, it goes to my Substack's page to sign up. So if you guys want to read a little bit more of my story, go over to the summary on my website and that will take you to the Substack page. I've got 2 pieces up so far. Once I get done getting everything live, I'm going to get into the clip of the consistent post. Hopefully, I'm going to try to commit to 2 a month starting out, just so that I'm giving myself a little bit of breathing room with all the other things that I have going on. When you go to my apothecary, you'll see my 2 herbal products. I used to have a bigger line, and these are my 2 favorites. These are the best sellers of everything. So I whittled it down. This is the doubling down on what's selling. When you purchase the products, my roommate in Tennessee will fulfill and ship orders to you. I have an herbalist in Portland that has been sworn to secrecy about my formulations. She makes all the products. She labels them. I used to make them myself, and then it got to be too much time and energy. It became a better and more efficient plan to have someone else do it. She's the 3rd herbalist I've contracted with since 2007, and I like my DIY simple system. Health practitioners often use big manufacturers, but I have a good margin this way. Most people don't want to do the communication, create the systems and instructions, and manage people to pull off this kind of DIY system. So they go for what's easier for them, but this is easier for me. Even though I think I've integrated a lot of the control freak parts of me, I like knowing how everything is working, and I like doing it myself. Maybe it's more DIY than it is even control. My physical products are available for pre-sale, but they're not going to be shipped until November 15th. It's kind of like a CSA style, community-supported agriculture. That's how I started my sauerkraut company. That's another business that I had, and I sold to my business partner back in 2014. But pre-sale is available. I'm going to share the recipe for my Nympho Forest Witch Tea so that you can make it yourself. It's an earthy and dirty and grounding and energizing tea. And it's like sucking on the teat of Mother Earth. If you purchase a digital product or go to my free store for my digital downloads, you'll be able to access it on School. Connect School with Shopify. We just did a little integration there. I chose School because I keep it open in a tab for the Dharma Artist Collective, so I thought it would be easy for me and easier for y'all. I named my community the Pharaoh Collective, and inside there, I created 2 free downloads and 2 paid courses. This community is based around my soul calling that I had to be a spokesperson for the planet. After a plant ceremony last year, I got that message. And that felt like a big narcissistic fucking task. Like, who am I to be that? I really struggled with this. But through my dreams, I realized that I have to move on this work. I had a really profound dream that showed me this, and I don't know why. I don't care anymore. A healthy human wouldn't destroy their home. I spent 13 years dedicated to helping humans become healthier, work with their gut microbiomes, and help become symbiotic with the microbes living with their gut. And in the last few years of getting interviewed on podcasts and summits for gut health, I realized I was saying the same thing over and over again. We are only as healthy as our environment. And then I realized, like, I am shifting into teaching humans how to be symbiotic microbes on the planet, essentially. Like, we are the beings on the planet. Planet's our home. So I'm shifting to this like macrocosm from the microcosm of the work I was doing before. I'm here to help people connect with nature, heal their relationship to the mundane miracles that surround us in every moment, and get so free that we can all go run naked through the wilderness together and remember that we used to be feral and that our wildness is one of the most precious parts of our humanity. We've been shamed and programmed to believe that being wild is savage and unsophisticated. I'm happy to be savage and unsophisticated because I want to run through the wilderness naked and pick up nondescript rocks and lick them and eat plants and hunt my food and drink the cleanest water and breathe the freshest air. I'm not here to tell other people what to do, but I'm telling you, when you heal your attentional system and end the dopaminergic stimulation cycle that is keeping you from sitting in nature and having ecstatic and mundane mystical experiences, you will feel fulfilled. You think you're chasing happiness. It's not happiness. It's fulfillment. That comes from being healthy and free and connected to a close-knit community of lovers. Friends who are celebrating all of you and all that you bring to the world. All judgment is cast aside. All parts are welcome because we've done the work to recognize and hold our own parts so close. We treat others with the same respect and care. Right now, I feel called to continue my personal journey as a single woman in as much solitude as I can tolerate, which is quite a lot right now because it allows me to focus on my work. I think that the work I'm doing with my own personal finances has allowed me the amazing life I have, where I live in a camper in the most gorgeous place, where I took a bath in a creek the other day in water so clean and fresh that you could literally drink it straight from the ground. That's how we used to drink water a long time ago. I believe that when we get our relationship to money and nature healed, we have a fighting chance of creating the harmony required, because money is energy and nature is the soul. More soul work is in my free store. It's called The Mystical Magnet. It's a free download that reminds you how freaking magical life is at every moment. When we shift our attention to noticing this, it connects us to our innate ability to create and manifest what we want in our lives. This guide is how we follow the divine breadcrumbs straight to the source. And this book came to me in a mystical experience. This is the first time I'm sharing it. I feel like I'm mission completing right now, and I'm ready for the next mission after this one. Another thing in the free store is the Mystical Money Manifesto, a guide to wealth and energetic alignment. Came from a Dream Sprint download when I acknowledged the fact that I've come a long way with money. In this book, I share everything I've learned to transform my relationship to it with the goal of doing what I want when I want, because that's my definition of freedom. This is intended to help people free themselves from the judgments and social programming that keeps them stuck in a bad relationship to this energetic exchange. And being able to, I want to say one more thing about freedom. It's like being able to do what you want when you want means freedom with your time. It means being free to take the opportunities that come up in front of you, like a beautiful day and a rainbow comes out and you get to go out and look at it and you get to go on a walk and just start following those breadcrumbs, essentially. You can't do that when your entire life is connected to the clock, the time, the way that humans perceive it and humans look at it. If we schedule ourselves too tight, we have an energetic imbalance. I created 2 programs that people can invest in if they want a distinct shift in their lives. I'm leading a live container for the Mystical Money 6-week immersion starting in October. This is for people who want to clear their energy around money, learn how to charge for the things you make without selling yourself or selling out. I also included my consulting and one-off sessions on my website so that people can apply to work with me when they feel called. All links to everything are at summerbock.com, like the beer, B-O-C-K. It means mountain goat in German. If you're just starting out with getting yourself out in the world because you have a message you want to share, I recommend starting with simply Substack or Medium. You could also do WordPress and get a CRM that is free or cheap for the first few hundred emails. I've been down that route and I chose what I'm doing now because I do think it's a better option, but you do you and you do what you do depending on where you want to go. If you want help figuring out your current or future tech stack, or you want to be ready for your business as it scales and you want to talk through your business plans with me, this is what I do for a living. Feel free to reach out to me on my website. I would love to connect. If you want to talk about gut health, you're shit out of luck. Just kidding. Just kidding. I recommend some amazing practitioners if that's something that you do feel called to talk to me about. A lot of people still do. It was a really big part of my life, and I know that energy is still there. When I was 18, I was shooting up morphine every day to cope with the grief that I had given my baby up for adoption at 16. I knew I needed to stop using because I had a waking vision while I was sitting on the couch of a cancer patient waiting to score morphine. And in that vision, I saw my junkie friends' bodies as outlines filled with gray smoke. Every time they walked through the world, the smoke would slowly dissipate. Every time they moved, this smoke would get less and less in their smoke-filled body. And then they would be almost empty by the end of the day. They'd have to shoot up to fill the smoke back up to maximum in their body. They were empty, right? Their souls were empty. Their soul's energy had been replaced by this gray smoke of addiction, of opiates. This simple vision spoke to my subconscious and painted the horror story subconscious me needed to see in order to make a change. After trying to quit, I would run into junkies on accident at the gas station, and then I get sucked back in. So I had to leave Tennessee. I packed up my car. I bought 220 milligrams of methadone, which is an opiate used to help people who are chronically addicted to opiates. I put hash marks up and down the bottle to see about how many milligrams I was taking, and I drank tiny sips every day. Some days I'd have an extra sip just to keep the withdrawals from taking over my whole body. Sweating and achy, I drove with no destination in mind, just one rule: do not hang out with junkies. If you discover someone uses, walk away. Do not form a connection. I learned that when your life is better without the addictive substance than with it, you can quit. But that's controversial, and I'm not here to get somebody to relapse or anything based on my own personal philosophy around this, but that served me, and it's been true as I've overcome many addictions throughout my life, including my addiction to the shimmer. I faked a resume in San Francisco, and I got a sales job at a clothing boutique. I lived in a warehouse underground for $200 per month, but I could sell. I was selling clothes like crazy. The automatic deposits started adding up, so I saved enough to get my first computer and go to herbal medicine school. Now you know more about me than I probably know about you, which is always the strange part about putting our work out into the world. When I look back at where I started and the hardships I went through, I'm amazed that I live this magical life where I get to run around in the wilderness, living in my camper with my dog, with my heart wide open. I own a couple houses in Tennessee that I rent out and been looking for another property. And yesterday I walked onto that dream property and my soul told me to make it happen. And this will be a place for the community to expand and grow. I'll have RV spots, van spots, rooms to rent. We can make this more than just a shimmer relationship. It could become one of the real world vortexes where we meet up. My dream includes building an earthship and a tiny house on it. I saw the most unbelievable rainbow unicorn sunrise of my life that morning walking my dog. And then the moonrise last night stopped me in my tracks. I forget my phone half the time, and my friends rarely have their phones even in their room when we spend time together. My community all over the world gives me so much, and I try to give as much as I can. I'm grateful, but I'm still amazed because there's a timeline where I might not even be here to tell you this story.